let's move on to Double or Nothing, which is this weekend in Las Vegas at the MGM. I will be out there. Tons of people who I know will be out there. A bunch of people who are in our Facebook group will be out there. And I think, we have some thoughts on this card, and we'll go into them in a second. But I think the thing to lead off with is this whole situation with Pac and Adam Page, and them doing the match before this show and not doing the match on this show because of inability to come to an agreement on how you want the finishes to happen on this match. And so, long story short, Pac being the Dragon Gate champion and being someone who understands his value in the wrestling organization, in the wrestling world, wrestling business, he does not want to necessarily lose right now because of those two factors. I think he's undefeated since he's been back in Dragon Gate, and it's not even really this match with Adam Page, because I think, I'm not 100% sure, but from what I understand is he was going to win the match. There was going to be a future program with one of the top guys, probably someone like Omega, that he would have had to lose, and I think that's where the disagreement or the change in the booking happened, is because it's like, okay, if we can't get there, then there's no reason to get here, and let's just sort of figure out what we can do in the future and down the line. And there may be some other things that they need to sort of figure out with him. But they did have a match in it was AEW put it on their YouTube page, and it was a good match. The ring was kind of small, but the finish was what the finish was, and why AEW didn't want to do it on their pay-per-view, which was a disqualification. But what did you think about that whole situation, as someone who has had to deal with people who maybe did not want to lose or couldn't lose for whatever reason, and you have to kind of change your plans? Like, what did you think about that whole situation and how it kind of resolved itself?
I mean, I never really had an issue because I was always upfront early, with that person. If I had a feeling or had, if I thought that they weren't going to have an issue with losing, I would bring it up early before we even announced the match or even booked the guy, right? I don't understand how this happened. Like, how does not get smoothed out before they had Pac come to was that Florida when they had the rally and confront Adam Page? Like, how do you not get this all cleared and know what you're going? It's just, Kenny Omega should know the Japanese wrestling company mentality of, like, they don't want their champion losing, right? Pac, he, it has to protect his value in Japan, right? And his value within Dragon Gate. And his value, a lot of guys should think like this, right? It's not a good thing. He was probably winning. He's probably going to face Omega for the newly created AEW championship. And Omega is probably going to be the first champion, right? And by beating Pac. And it would have been a great match, and I'm sure they would have killed it. And star ratings galore, right?
Yeah.
But, how they not clear this? How can not think this through? Like, how they not talk about this? And, are you going to hold? Is it going to be okay? So, well, as long as I'm not Dragon Gate champion, I can do a job. But, but how long you hold the title? Like, we'll talk to the office, work with Dragon Gate. There's a lot of great stars they could bring over and talk about. Look, why does it not get cleared? This shit drives me insane, and it's happened. I've seen it happen on the indie level where a star is booked, and it's like, can he do a job? Well, I don't know. We'll find out when he shows up. Like, well, that changes everything we want to do for the future or something, or what are you going to do next? Like, you should have that in the clear now, so you don't give the fans some disappointing match. You have to add another guy in, or lane disqualification finish like what they got in this match. I watched the match. The match is, pretty good. For me, like, my style of wrestling, what I like, wasn't my taste, because I kind of got desensitized to all the moves they're doing, and nothing. It just was a lot of crazy moves, and they're great athletes, and it was fun to watch them execute them. But, like, I wasn't really brought into that story of the match, and the disqualification was just, the lane with the referee and all that stuff. But I don't know. I just don't understand how they do not get this cleared before the rally, before they get, because I mean, if you're watching, I was looking at the card. It's probably one of the matches I was looking forward to the most to seeing. I thought that would have been a hell of a match, but I just didn't. It didn't happen. I just don't get it, man. It's just it's kind of like a little bit of a red flag when it comes to AEW, but we'll see what happens in the future when it comes to other stuff.
Well, I think you have to treat it like an educational situation. Mm-hmm. You are going to have to, someone like Pac, you're like, oh yeah, he's gonna love working here, and he's gonna, maybe he'll bend over backwards to do certain things for us. He knows the deal. And then you have someone like Pac who's like, look, I told WWE to fuck off. He's like, I told those guys that I didn't want to work for them. So that to me tells you where he stands as far as knowing his own value. And I think I don't make this about him at all. Like, look, he thinks he's got a situation where he's the top guy in his company, and he's not gonna be treated like anything but. And so I get that part. From the AEW side, I don't really this stuff happens a lot. I always go back to the WWE show before WrestleMania, where it was supposed to be it was Daniel Bryan against Ali, right? Or no, it's Daniel Bryan against Owens or something like that. And then, just right before the show starts, it's like, oh, they make it, they add Ali to the match. And so WWE does this all the time, where they just change their mind. It's not because their feet are against the fire, like in this situation, but they do that a lot. So if you're going to get pissed at AEW for that, it's like, yeah, you should be mad because that was going to be a really good match. But this happens a lot, and it happens in WWE all the time. I think the way that I would look at it is like, look, if this becomes the norm, then yeah, there's something going on. But if they can learn from this and go, okay, we just gotta make sure we have all of our I's dotted and our T's crossed, and this is just one where we gotta learn from it. So I'm totally fine with it, especially because this is a sold out show. It's a pay-per-view. This is not weekly TV. They're gonna have to figure some of this stuff out, and I think we can hold them to it, because it is a thing where they advertise something that's not going to happen, so they should definitely get a little bit of whatever it is for that. But at the same time, just go like, okay, like, it happened, and let's see how it goes from here on out. So if they learn from it, cool. Hopefully they're a little tighter the next time. But like you said, if this is a true red flag, we'll also see that, and we'll have to call them out on it in the future. Like, nobody is, I'm not saying that, you should give them a break just because they're new or just because they're AEW. I'm like, no, this happens, and they just gotta learn from it. So that's kind of how I look at the situation.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, no, I agree with what you're saying, but like, I want to know, where was the communication breakdown? Like, because it had to happen somewhere, obviously, and as we're getting closer to the match, I would have been okay if I found, like, this was like a month ago maybe, and but like, it was just last week or so that all this drama came out, and it's like, it just wow, like, get that stuff covered early on, especially before you announce that you're announcing this rally and have him come out, and you're hyping this match and getting your fans excited about this match, and now you give it to him, quote unquote, by having on the show in the UK, and good on AEW for paying the wrestlers their money, and I'm sure that promoter was happy as can be, but like come on, man. But like I said, let's see if they learn from it. And I think they will. I think Tony Khan's definitely gonna be a little more stricter with things, and maybe oversee a little bit more now, because it's kind of a little egg on their face, just a little bit. But I think all in all, in the end, AEW has some really smart people, running this company, and I think they're going to do well. And I'm more curious, like I said, about the TV and how that's going to be, and how week 4 and 5 is going to look.
right, so let's look at this card. I think we both have the same thought about it, which is, looks great. It's going to be a fun show, but a lot of sameness on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of variety. Not a lot of true vindictive feud. Like, you'll get some of that in Jericho and Omega because Jericho will make sure that it's in there. But you look at this stuff. No blood feuds on this show really. Lots of high flying, lots of high spot kind of matches. Cody and Dustin will be interesting for what it is, but yeah, it's just a lot of stuff that you would see at a PWG show or whatever, which is great. But when it comes to trying to add a casualness to your fan base, this whole same kind of style is going to be interesting to see how it works. And I would have liked a little bit more variation here, especially on a really big show.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the card and I'm like, wow, it's a lot of same styles, and which I was noticing as talent kept being announced for being signed to AEW. Like, I was just saying the other day, like, where's the monsters?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the big men? Where's the ass kickers? Right? And that's what was so great about wrestling in the past. There's all this variety, and you had these big guys and tough guys. You had the slick technical guys. You had the quick high flyers. And here I feel like we have a lot of guys that could do a lot of the similar stuff. Like, to me, like Chucky T and Beretta are no different than the Young Bucks, right? So, and it's this all the same kind of style, and we're gonna see the million of the same stuff this whole show, minus some of the. I think like the girls' match will be different. I think the OEW match will be a little different. I think people are expecting the OEW match to be what they see on those clips of those Chinese wrestlers doing a lot of crazy and wacky choreographed spots. But like what they're getting is 3 really talented, solid workers, a potential superstar in T-Hawk, a guy who I would think AEW is looking to kind of build up and be a singles competitor against guys like Omega, etc. And so I'm looking forward to that match. And a lot of it's like, I just feel like it's going to be very choreographed, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the style now. But like, where's the technical guy? Where's the brawler? I guess Jericho will bring that, right? That's what we expect.
Yep.
From Jericho. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's no Tim Thatchers on this show. That's for sure.
No Tim Thatchers. Dr. Death Steve William types. No guys. No freight train guys that are gonna steamroll dudes and kick ass. Like, I was just watching the clip of like Scott Norton. Like, man, where's a Scott Norton these days? The guy that comes to the ring, you're like, holy shit, this guy's a monster. AEW has a bunch of guys that can do a lot of moves and a lot of athletic stuff. Cool, but like after I seen a 5-hour show of it, like I'm done by hour 2.
Yeah, no, yeah, totally. So let's go over the card. I can't say that I know everybody on in these matches, so you'll probably will help me out with some of this stuff. But the first match I think is going to be Kip Sabian and Sammy Guevara. And when I went to the AEW ticket release press conference, Sammy Guevara was there. He was definitely, I wouldn't say he came through like a major star, but he's definitely has the look, and he definitely tries really hard to get his character over. And I know that when it comes to in the ring, like that's where he's really going to shine. But I was kind of impressed by him. I thought he was a cool guy, and I think he's a pretty good signing for them. But I'm not even sure who Kip Sabian is, so you're going to have to help me out with that one.
Oh, I'm with you, man. I don't really know too much about Kip Sabian either. But this is matches on free on the pre-show, right?
Yes.
So it's the get the people excited, get them some action. I do know Sammy Guevara. I've seen many of his matches. I think he's a good prospect to get, and I haven't seen it, but I hear great reviews of his work in PWG as a heel. So that excites me. That I think that's great. And there's matches there to get a bunch of high spots in, get people excited, like, oh man, this is nuts. Let's keep watching.
Yep.
So, and they own that pay-per-view. So I think they're as smart to put them on this pre-show.
So the 21-man Casino Battle Royal, which the winner of this match is going to receive, or I guess be the number 1 or number 1A contender for the AEW World Championship. So the winner of this match will face the winner of Jericho and Omega. And if you look at the people at least announced in this match, you're like, I mean, maybe Billy Gunn is like the biggest name. Well, I mean, he's not the biggest name, but he's like the most well known of all the guys.
Have they announced all 21? I don't think so yet.
So
right?
there's four guys left. So let's go through the people. So Sonny Kiss, Brandon Cutler, Ace Romero, Glacier, Brian Pillman Jr., Sunny Days, MJF, Joey Janela, Dustin Thomas, who I don't know, Billy Gunn, Jimmy Havoc, Michael Nakazawa, Jungle Boy, Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Ken, Luchasaurus, the Sean Spears, and there's 4 folks who have not yet been announced. So I think the way the match works is,
wasn't Joey Janela in this match too?
Janela?
I thought he was. But
yeah, he's in it. I mentioned him.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I mean, of the list you're giving me right now, I mean, my heart says Jungle Boy, right? But that's something that Jungle Boy should be someone that they're building from a year or two now, right?
2 years from now, Jungle Boy's a little bit bigger and in the picture. Yeah,
definitely. A minimum of a year, 2 years would be great. The only guys that kind of stick out was Joey Janela, because he has he has a pretty big following for this crowd, and Sean Spears, right? But then again, Sean Spears, just as Ty Dillinger, came off of WTV as a low card, guy, right?
Yeah, he would have been chasing R-Truth around in the back.
Yeah, like Sean Spears, big draw for APW, June 15th. Come see him, gets to meet the Thatcher, right? On the independent level, big draw.
Yep.
But I'm talking about TNT.
Yep.
I'm talking about a match versus Omega, maybe, or Jericho. Is that the match that you want this to be about your first championship match, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So what's interesting to see who those 4 spots are left. I hope they have some really good surprises in store for us. I think they do. Supposedly the scenario that they had before has been changed a little bit with the Pac situation, and they say that this is even better. So, I mean, AEW has been doing overall great with a lot of decisions, so I'm hoping out for the best. But right now, if I'm sitting and looking at that Battle Royal, which honestly, I like the concept. I think it's kind of funky and cool and it's something different, and that's what they kind of need to do. And I don't know. I right now, if you're trying to sell me one of these guys is going to go and challenge for the title, I'm like, give me someone else. And let's hope that 4 spots, there's that guy.
So the way the match works, there are going to be 5 guys coming in at a time, and once they get to 20, then there will be the last person, whoever's the luckiest person to get in the ring, will sort of be in there and clean it up. And there's been talk of Dean Ambrose. I think if Dean Ambrose was in this match, I think that is a good enough surprise for him to face Jericho or Kenny Omega for the title. I do think that's big enough. I do think people will go crazy for him. The other person I think who we may get is Adam Page as number 21, because of the fact that he was supposed to face Pac. Now he's not. Now he's not even in a match. So I do wonder if he is that 21st guy. I know, they're really high on him, and maybe he becomes the 1A contender for that championship. But outside of those 2 guys, I I don't know. I've been trying to think who's out there and who's available, and maybe Tony Khan's got like this surprise, just under his sleeve, like just waiting to unveil that none of us have been able to figure out. And if so, like more power to him, because today trying to keep secrets in wrestling is almost impossible. But yeah, like outside of those two guys, I'm not sure who else is out there to be that guy.
Maybe it's the Rainmaker.
I mean, that would be awesome. Like that, like that's what I told Meltzer. I was like, if it's Okada or Tanahashi, then sure, like fantastic, I'm in. But then they would, they're not working with those guys right now, and I don't know if those guys are actually working this weekend in Japan, which would not allow them to do it. They're not on. When does Super Junior stuff actually involve everybody?
But I think Okada's been on the undercard and Naito's been on the undercard.
Okay, so then they're probably not able to do it anyways.
Yeah, I still wonder this whole Jericho at Dominion thing is the olive branch between AEW. I mean, I know what Jericho has in his contract that he can do his own thing with New Japan. I still see. I think something's up with that, and I think AEW and New Japan will be working together sooner than later.
I hope so. I sure hope so.
I don't know. I just think they both need each other, But actually, New Japan is doing pretty good right now. Like things are. There hasn't been that big of a drop off.
Except for that Dallas show that I'm going to that I won't be able to give my ticket away for.
True, the Dallas show's down, but like when it comes to subscriptions for the New Japan World and stuff, like they're getting a lot more stuff from the UK fans and Australia fans, and so they're doing pretty good.
Actually, I should be able to give my ticket away because I have two, so I'm trying to figure out how to. Rather than sell the second one, I just might try to find someone who's interested in
what's the date on that show?
It's in July. It's like after the weekend after 4th of July, I think.
Man, I'll talk to the boss of bosses.
Yeah, right. Ticket's yours if you want it. We could record stuff. Like it would be fun.
Oh man.
So let's get through the rest of the matches. SoCal Uncensored, Daniels Kazarian, Scorpio Sky against the Strong Hearts, Shima, T-Hawk, and El Lindemann. You've seen more of the Strong Hearts than I have. Like, what's your expectation for this one?
They're gonna shine, and SCU is gonna really make sure to do shine because I think it's important for AEW to have. I mean, SCU already has a following here in the United States. They're well known, but OEW Strong Hearts aren't, right? So and T-Hawk is superstar potential. Like like I said earlier, he's a guy that they should build up and have matches with Omega and Cody and Paige and stuff, and make him one of the top guys because he has that superstar presence. Mm-hmm. And El Lindemann, I mean, he's just phenomenal talent and has the ability to be such a Tully Blanchard type of a pesky heel within the group. And Sema, he's always been great and he's so charismatic, but T-Hawk is so young and looks great, wrestles great. That's what I want to see. I want to see Omega versus T-Hawk down the line, maybe within the year or so to see that match. So I'm excited. I definitely want to see that because I'm a big fan of all three of those guys.
So we also got Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta against Angelico and Jack Evans, and this is kind of what you were saying with sort of that high flying, high spot kind of match.
It's the same match as Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers. I'm sorry, it's going to be similar. Really. I mean, the moves might be a little different, but the same kind of tone and vibe of the match is going to be the same.
We also have Aja Kong, and I don't know these names, so bear with me with the pronunciation. Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, Emi Sakura versus Hikaru Shida, Ryo Abe, and Ryo Mizunami. I don't know anybody but Aja Kong in this match.
Yeah, Aja Kong's there to be the legend, and that people... Still, it's a hardcore name that people know, not the casual audience, right? But she's the she's the legend of the group. My personal favorite is Hiro Shida, who's an actress that did wrestling in a movie that ended up liking it and it became a wrestler. I mean, she's very attractive. I think she's a superstar. I mean, I was thinking, like, if I had a promotion, I had some money behind it, like, and I was gonna have a women's division, which I would, like, I would definitely sign her up because she looks like a star. She's talented, and they hopefully someone that they really do build around. Which when they announced that she signed, I thought, okay, definitely they got some smart people, because I think she's
an Omega pick is what it is.
Yeah, Omega's doing the women's division, so I think it's great, and this is a part of the second one match I'm really looking forward to, because the women always bring it, especially the Japanese women, so they should go out there and just it's going to be like Wrestle War 91 with Miss A
and Mickey Honda.
Yeah, it's just going to go out there and do a bunch of cool stuff. But now, in 1991, it was really cool because no one on that card was doing that stuff, right?
Yeah.
These girls are doing the same stuff the men are doing. So, I mean, we'll see, right?
We also have Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose versus Kylie Ray. I'm really interested in seeing Kylie Ray. I'm interested in seeing this match just because I know, they do want to focus some on the women, and you got Brandy Runnels, who is very outwardly saying, if we need to make equal pay, and if the women are on the same, in the main event spot or whatever, they should make the same as the men, and she's been very adamant about that, which doesn't mean that every woman is paid the same as every guy. It definitely depends on where you are on the card and how you are as a draw and all that, I'm sure, but it is an attempt to take what WWE has done with the women as superstars and put them on equivalent footing with the men. Now, I don't know that they have those women yet who can be that that main event. They don't have a Ronda Rousey. If they did, then I would sort of understand where she's coming from. But I think this is also like a long game for them. Brandy is a very, I wouldn't necessarily say good spokesperson yet, because I see some things from her that I don't necessarily agree with or think that they're maybe for the best of the promotion. But then I also see stuff like there's an Undefeated piece on her today. Undefeated is like the culture website of ESPN, and it was very strong, and it showed her her passion and what she could actually do. And so I think stuff like that is great. But I'm kind of intrigued with what they can do with the women's division that is different than what has been done historically. And I think they'll have their work cut out for them, at least in the beginning. But have you seen any of these women wrestle before?
Yeah, I've seen all three of them.
I've seen Britt Baker, but I haven't seen the other two.
I think Kylie Ray has the ability to be the top babyface of that division. She has such a lovable, likable kind of character that I think people could grab onto. She just needs to find that villain, that heel, that to be her rival. I think might be Britt Baker, but I think I don't know if she's going to be a babyface or not. But I can see
Isaac Yankem DDS for real.
I wouldn't have Kylie win this match. I would have probably Britt Baker go over. Nyla Rose I've seen. I haven't been honestly too impressed by her. Nothing really stood out. I mean, she has a great story, transgender wrestler. But I think Asuka in Japan's even a better of the two. So I'm surprised they didn't get her. Maybe there was contract stuff they couldn't get her yet. But I think you go Britt Baker here in this match. I think she's a good starting point. I think the division is just going to get better. There's going to be when Tessa Blanchard comes available, right? They're going to go hard for her. So with WWE though. Jordan Grace seems to be open. With that funky shenanigans. So is Dixie Carter back at TNA?
Oh my God!
What's going on over there? So I mean, she'd be fantastic to add to this division. I think she will be there here sooner than later. But yeah, I think Kylie is definitely the potential to be that draw. Not going to be out overnight, but someone that you build up that big championship win. I think her challenge for the championship on a show could be a great main event rating if they book it correctly.
And then we have, I think, what most would consider to be the top 3 matches. You have the Young Bucks against the Lucha Bros, and this is for the AAA World Tag Team Championship. The Young Bucks showed up on the last pay-per-view and won sort of an impromptu match to win the titles. And so they will defend it here on the AEW show. I think, like you said, we sort of know what this match is going to be like coming in. I do believe, though, that these guys also know that, and they also see the sort of the sameness on the card. I think, we're not talking about changing styles here and all of a sudden going for side headlocks. This is not Randy Orton here, but I do think they're going to change it up a little bit because I think there's an expectation, and if they may just do like a 4.5, 5, 4 3/4, 5-star match, which I think everyone will be fine with. But I kind of feel like they may change a little bit up to not have the match that sort of everyone expects them to have.
Well, Young Bucks don't get credit for this, but they're good storytellers.
Yep.
And we've seen that in their last year in New Japan. When it came to, I enjoyed the stuff that Matt was doing with his back. And, I mean, I'm sure some of it's based on reality, right?
Yeah,
you know? But, I liked the creativity that they used to get into that stuff with his injury to his back and how they used that. And so I can see them doing that in this match, which I hope they do.
Yeah.
But they worked with... I like the Lucha Bros. I think Rey Fenix is a sensational talent to watch. Penta is just oozes charisma. Doesn't need to do much anymore. Just goes to Romero, and you know what I mean. It's all he needs to really do. But can they be those guys that take advantage of the back or something like that? Right? Can they work that style without? Because I've seen the Lucha Brothers have some funky matches. Case in point, MLW with the
yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, this match is going to be nuts, and ended up breaking down and end up being like, oh my god, someone pull the plug now.
Yep.
They just not have any chemistry together.
Yeah.
But so we'll see. And then this match is leading into Bucks are working the Lucha Brothers again in Mexico, coming up on their, I don't know how to say it in Spanish, but it's like their equivalent to the SummerSlam show.
Yeah.
So are the Bucks going to be champions going in, or I have a feeling they will. So I think I can see the Bucks retaining here.
The other match, and we talked about this, I don't know, probably about a month ago, in the if you go to our YouTube channel, we have taken that segment from the podcast about a month ago where we talked about this match, and we talked about the build-up to this match. So that's on the YouTube channel if you want to go Fight Game Podcast YouTube channel. We talked about that. So now the match is here. It is Cody. It is Dustin. I think a lot of wrestling fans really wanted them to have this major program because they wanted it, several years ago, was 4 or 5 years ago. And now we have it. Now, Dustin is a lot older. He is kind of, I would say that it's interesting how people think about him, because you and I have been able to watch his entire career, really since day one. So we have a little bit of a different perspective because we saw the natural, and we saw someone who we thought was going to be like the next, Barry Windham or whatever, or whoever it was going to be, because he's just so good at such an early age. And then, goes to WWF and changes his character completely, becomes, one of their most intriguing gimmicks that they ever created. And then, had just an up and down career after that. He did some stuff with Booker T, which was kind of fun. He even though he had to do like the stuttering stuff. But he was always, I was always rooting for him pretty much no matter what. Like, even when he was going through all of those problems and when he was probably a major dick to a lot of people, I just always rooted for him because I was like, man, this Dusty's kid, and I loved him, as he was coming up. I want to see him succeed. And now he's like the veteran. Like, he's like one of the old, I think he's probably, as far as someone who is talent, he is the oldest guy on the roster. He's got to be older than Jericho. And I am hoping that he gets the perfect send-off if this is going to be it for him. It may not be, because we've talked about them possibly becoming a tag team. But whatever it is, I just really, really want to see this match be as good as possible, more for Dustin than for Cody, because Cody's going to be, this is Cody's deal here. He's going to be around for a while. But, man, I'm really, really rooting for this match, maybe more than any other match on the card.
Yes, same here. I'm with you on the whole Dustin thing. I hope he does have that great performance, if it's his last performance. Coming back from double knee surgery, we'll see how he holds up and what they do and how this Dustin Rhodes character, because he teased the black and red makeup and how that's going to play into it, and maybe this is Dustin Rhodes' last match, but not his new character's last match, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could be something to look out for. So I hope it's good. I know they're gonna do everything they can to make it good. It's gonna be emotional. So yeah, it should be one of the highlights.
Yeah, for sure. And then we get the main event, Jericho and Omega. You already mentioned that Jericho is also facing Okada, so I wonder if that ties into what they do here. But it is a rematch of one of the best matches from last year. It was a year of tremendous matches, but that was a match where I really thought, Chris Jericho's fucking genius. And I hope they can do it again. Omega's great. He's so athletic and he's so thoughtful and he's so, he knows when to make things, look fantastic, and he's got cardio. Like, he is really a total package. But I'm sure it's going to be Jericho's match again. Like, he's the vet. He's the heel. He's the one that knows how to work on this stage. And I not to say that I don't think it'll be as good, because if I say that, then Jericho's whole thing in his career is like, I'm going to prove you wrong. So I don't want to say that, because I do have belief in him. But I think if this match is only good and not great, I think that's going to be a slight thumbs down for the show. I think it'll affect the show a little bit. I think a lot of what people think about this show when it comes to the big matches is going to depend on what they think of this match. Mm-hmm. And I really, really hope they can pull it out like they did in Japan, and for the sake of the pay-per-view too, because they want momentum going into that TV. And if Jericho and Omega tear the house down again, like that, that's going to really put a cap on this night as a successful night.
Yeah, what is the, like, how does this result play into, Jericho versus Okada? Like, does AEW want, their guy that's going to be challenged for the championship to lose to Okada just a month later or a few weeks later, right? Mm-hmm. How does that look to them, or do they care? Does New Japan put the title on Jericho and have him not wrestle for, during the, he doesn't need to wrestle during the G1, right? That could be something to look out for. I kind of been thinking about what they might do, but I hope not, because that's like to just keep shotting the title this year, which would, which made the, IWGP title so prestigious, is that, it has long reigns and great title fences. So, but this match here, will hold up to that match from the Tokyo Dome. Hard to hold up for that one, because that was really good. So I expect the creative minds of both these men that work on overtime here, and I expect something completely different. I expect some blood from Jericho. It's no disqualification again, right?
Good question. I'm not exactly sure.
I'm guessing. Well, I don't know because it's the sports presentation, right? I expect the referees to let it go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, will it hold up? If it doesn't hold up, will people be disappointed? I think overall this show is going to have a positive reaction no matter what, and I think they're gonna have a great match. I think those guys are just too smart not to have a good match, and not to top their first one. And I used to see Omega winning though. I do, because I think that's who they want to be their first champion to carry the TV show early on.
Yeah, no, I very much hope that you are right. I will say I'm so interested in the telecast that I'm kind of bummed that I'm going to be there live, because I want to see how these guys work together with Jim Ross. I think
me too. I'm with you there.
I think Jim can be a tremendous asset as long as it's not the Jim show. Like, I think he's probably the best guy still for the job, but if he's 100% dialed in, focused on the product, which I'm not exactly sure that he is. So I hope that he is, as the third man in the booth, I hope that he is, as he always says, he helps provide the lyrics for the music and can really help the broadcast. Because I think at this point, Excalibur is probably the better guy for the way that wrestling is today. Now, if we had Morrow here, like, Morrow would be the perfect guy. But because of, all the moves and the fast pace and being able to call the stuff, Excalibur is probably the better guy here. Jim could probably do an okay job still, but I don't think he's really super interested in, learning the names of the 37 moves that he's going to see that are kind of all the same. And so that's intriguing to me. I hope that the broadcast goes off, and I hope that Alex Marvez does a good job, and the production and all that stuff. I hope that goes off without a hitch, because that's also a part of this, which is different than just doing a show, right? It's the telecast, and it's the pay-per-view, and it's all of those things is now their job, not just the in-ring.
Yeah, and I wonder how Excalibur is. He's either also to provide the comedy too, because I think in PWG he's pretty funny.
Yeah,
when stuff. So, and Marvez, how does he keep up? Can he keep up?
Yep.
I want to. God, I know we keep hoping to hear it, but that vintage JR, I think he'll pick his spots. I think for sure the match with Jericho and Omega, he'll come out.
Yeah.
I think that will give him enough storyline depth to really sink his teeth into. Same with Dustin and Cody, right? I think those two matches, you're going to see the best of JR in.